Yo, Schizo Jits here with the UFC 285 recap. We had, man, so much happened. Great card, amazing night of fights. We had the debut of Bo Nickel against Jamie Pickett, ended in 1 round as he predicted, as Bo Nickel predicted. We had Jalen Turner in a very close fight with Gamrot. I don't even want to try to say his first name, but Thus Gamrot. Great fight. I don't think it was a robbery or anything like that. A lot of people did think Jalen Turner won. I picked Jalen, but I feel like it was a pretty good decision. Either way, it could go either way. 2 rounds of one either way. But then we had who was it? The next one was Jeff. Jeff Neal and Shavkat. What a crazy fight that was. That was a freaking war. So I mean, that fight was amazing. With Shavkat with the victory. Shavkat got the submission late in the third round with a kind of like a bulldog choke. But just an amazing fight. Both guys that went back and forth. We'll get into that. Break down every fight. Then we had the female, the flyweight title, Valentina Shevchenko with 6 or 7 title defenses going for, I believe it was, 8 against Alexa Grasso. Grasso with the upset in the fourth round, getting the rear naked choke. I mean, that was a crazy fight too. Back and forth. Grasso came to fight. I mean, Shevchenko did look human again. Yeah, it was the second fight in a row where, she didn't look her best. So, I mean, have to dive into that too. And then obviously the return of John Jones at heavyweight. First fight at heavyweight. Beats Cyril Gain, as he would say. Beats him in, I think it was like 2.5 minutes or so. Takes him down pretty quick. Doesn't land any. The Cyril Gain literally landed nothing. I mean, I think he might throw a couple kicks, a punch that missed. He landed a nut shot right off the bat, like 5 seconds in. And, John Jones just did what he did, what he said he was going to do. He took him down, drug him down, and then just basically held him down, advanced position into a mount, and then up against the cage and got him in a really quick, slick guillotine type, I think maybe even a trachea crush type submission, but so much pressure, I'm pretty sure that Gane felt like his head was going to get popped off, so he had to tap. But, yeah, so a lot happened. A lot to digest in that. First fight, Bo Nickel. I mean, he came out and did exactly what he said he was going to do. The big lights did not affect him. He's used to it with Penn State. He wrestles with these guys every day still. It's the best team in the country, basically. Top team. K.O. Sanderson, your coach. I mean, the greatest collegiate wrestler of all time. I mean, this guy's putting in the work. Big lights did not hit him, did not mess him up in any way. I mean, he did throw a high kick or something and missed right away, fell down. But other than that, I mean, he pretty much clinched up with Jamie Pickett right away. There was a shot that was a questionable that right before he got the takedown, and it was like a knee, and you could see it on Jamie Pickett's face, like he kind of like made a face but the referee didn't really see it because immediately Bo Nickel took him down. So I don't even think he had an opportunity or a chance to even say anything to the ref or the ref to see. And he got taken down and mauled, and then Bo Nickel advanced into a arm triangle. He took his back. The really slick way that he takes it back. That's what I was saying in my breakdown, that Bo Nickel, being the elite wrestler that he is, he's still able to like transition to his jiu-jitsu game really well. And just in control, he didn't go crazy and go for a submission when it wasn't there. I mean, he kind of waited, was patient, took the back, ended up in an arm triangle situation where it wasn't quite there. It was, Pickett was kind of on his side. He wasn't flattened out. But he just kind of he got one leg caught in between Pickett's legs, so he wasn't able to get over to like like side control or even really a half guard even. You know what I mean? So he kind of was just kind of like stuck right there, but so he wasn't able to get his left hip down enough close to the mat right away, but it was still, but he was just squeezing, his head really hard though anyway, so the squeeze was tight. But I mean, as far as really putting the pressure with the body and everything just compacting down onto the choke, it took him a while to get there. And I don't even know if it even got there. Maybe it did it right at the end when he kind of passed the guard. So he passed the half guard, and then he got his left hip down a little closer to the mat and still close to Jamie's body, because a lot of times there was still a little too much space there. It's all about just crushing your opponent almost, and squeezing at the same time. So he was able to get the tap, first round, I don't know, a couple minutes in. But Jamie Pickett did a decent job at defending a couple takedowns, but it's just the chain wrestling. I mean, Bo Nickal's just next level. So Bo Nickal did get asked that question. I want to hear what he said. Of course, MMA Junkie, I think.
It's because they feel he was kneed in the groin, which directly led to the takedown and the finish.
What's
your response to that?
That's weird, bro.
Did you feel like you hit a blow at all, or no?
No, I don't. I think honestly, I know exactly what happened. I mean, I hit him in the leg, in the thigh, and I had him in a bad position on the wall. So he wanted to get off the wall, and he wanted the ref to stop it. Which, if I would have actually hit him low, I would feel bad because I don't want to win that way. I'm not a cheater. I'm not somebody that tries to take shortcuts, and so. If I did hit him low, I would have just relaxed probably, or just let the ref stop it. But I didn't hit him low at all, so it's a weird move, bro.
So besides that, obviously,
it's a weird move, bro, to say I hit you low. But I don't know. It looked like when I rewatched it, and I was like, before they even heard the press conference, and it looked low. It looked like he hit him with maybe 2 shots, maybe, but. It didn't seem intentional. I don't know if it was on the nuts or if it was just on the thigh, like he's saying, the inner upper thigh, which is a possibility too. And it still could hurt right there too. I mean, it's a sensitive area. So if it's just a hard knee, it didn't seem like it was a crazy hard knee also. But if it's straight to the cup, then it's gonna hurt. So you're gonna feel that. And if you didn't get a chance to recover, you get taken down. But either way, it was going to be a matter of time for Pickett. Nothing against him, no disrespect. But he was in there. He was served up for he was a perfect matchup for Bo Nickal to go down and take him down and look good and dominate. And, so in his debut on a John Jones card, you can't ask for anything more as far as your fourth fight, your fourth MMA fight. I think he had he had 3 on the Contender Series, 2 or 3. And then, then he had, and then now this is his debut on the biggest pay-per-view of the year, most likely. With John Jones on it. So, yeah. So, you can't ask for anything more than that. But I don't think, obviously, Bo Nickal's not a cheater. This guy is probably the most disciplined guy in the sport right now, just as far as wrestling pedigree, and been wrestling his whole life with goals of being great, since he was a kid, 6, 7 years old, he was already, dreaming of state championships and national titles and Olympics, and he's been working for that his whole life. So, and he's achieved most of his goals. So this is just another goal he has, is to be the best pound for pound. And I don't see anyone stopping his wrestling. Period, unless you can get Henry Cejudo to gain 60 pounds. I don't know what he walks around at now. He's fighting at 35. Probably walks around about 60, 65. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's the only thing, because he's quick. But I'm talking about just as far as the level. And it was funny, he was asked in the same press conference about who he thinks the second best is, and he said Cejudo. But so I think that just he thinks really highly of American wrestling, and I do too. But I'm just wondering, he didn't mention any Dagestanis or anything. That's the matchups I want to see. I want to see Bo Nickal against Khamzat, or even Khamzat against Shavkat. That's another good one, and another. Shavkat stock went up in this card as well. That guy showed that he has a little bit of everything. He has a chin, he has heart, he has that dog in him. He also has a ton of technique and great striking. He's Khamzat with way better striking. I don't want to say Khamzat because Khamzat seems a little bit more ferocious or tenacious with it. Almost like Khabib, style, just relentless, and really will overpower you and drag you down. Do whatever he has to do. Use a lot of energy if he needs to, and he might gas himself out that way. It kind of burns. I don't think he gassed, but he did get tired and slow down a little bit. But Shavkat seems more calculated and not a lot, real efficient with his striking. That was the one thing I noticed with him in his fight with Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal came, he missed, weight by 4.5 pounds. Maybe that allowed him to take a lot of these shots, but man, he's tough as hell. He ate everything, head kicks, body kicks, he literally just kept coming in and throwing bomb back. Anytime you think Jeff Neal would just, oh, damn, that shot hit him, whatever, Jeff Neal always answered with heat. He was always throwing power shots right back. and he stood his ground and, fought off the cage all the way till the end. He did get overwhelmed and he got like a standing rear naked choke, which was an odd angle off to the side maybe, but, who knows this guy's squeeze, probably has a ridiculous squeeze and still was able to cut off the blood. And, yeah, I mean, and it also could be where he just didn't have the energy to fight it or breath or whatever, because he did get rocked in that round. But, yeah, that fight was this fight of the night right there. Everyone was they were throwing bombs back and forth all night. I mean, Shavkat got rocked a few times too, where his legs went wobbly, but he came right back. And like I said, he was really efficient with it. He wasn't winding up with his punches. He was throwing boom, boom, two twos. I mean, then he'll throw an uppercut when it was necessary and just real fluid with it. And I wasn't expecting that because I hadn't really paid too much attention because that's kind of funny. Like 16-0, was he like 5-0? I think at UFC, all finishes. But it's like he kind of flies under the radar, unlike a Khamzat. Like Khamzat was there's big noise. Even Bo Nickel, like his first fight, he's already on pay-per-view, main card. I mean, so there's a lot of hype around these guys. There doesn't seem like there's so much hype around Shavkat. Maybe it's the way he speaks, or I don't know what it is. But he, 17-0, 17 finishes. I mean, amazing. But this was a good test for him because he had to deal with some adversity. And just a tough guy like in Jeff Neal, who's not just going to go down, and he was also 0 for 4 on takedowns. So Jeff Neal, amazing takedown defense, did a great job nullifying that, made it into a stand-up war. Which Shavkat I think he just had a little bit more tools, more weapons than Neal. Because Neal does get, a little head honey and stuff like that. He was head hunter. He was just going for nothing but power shots and head, but it was also because he was getting constantly under attack. So that was the way he was fighting fire with fire, basically. They just had different styles of bringing that firepower. And, Shavkat, man, he just has so many different weapons he could choose from and just look really efficient and sharp with it, with everything he did. So, I mean, it was a great fight. I mean, it was the fight of the night for sure. I mean, finished it third round. So, I mean, up until that point, it was back and forth. Well, where in any moment it felt like Jeff Neal had a chance. He was in the fight the whole time. That was the one thing I was noticing. Shavkat was pretty hittable. His defense, maybe a little bit more head movement with him. I don't know. But he just starts throwing bombs, and he was eating some too, though, a lot. So, I mean, that's the one thing he might need to address. But then again, he hadn't been challenged. He's just been dominating everybody. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is a good test for him and to show where he's at and he could still improve. And he was able to dig deep and still get the victory, which is the most important for his stock rising. So I want to see him at Khamzat next. I mean, I don't think it's not going to happen because, I mean, it's just not, but it's a possibility because Khamzat, I mean, he's talking about going up to 85 anyway, so I don't know if that matchup would happen, but that would be nice. But something to look forward to. I mean, I don't know. Shavkat's definitely going to be a problem, especially with he's been in this war, so that gives him a lot of experience on a big stage. And just came out on top. So that's definitely going to help him moving up the division. And he's calling out Colby Covington, actually. That's what he was saying on the post-fight. So, I mean, Colby, a lot of people are calling out Colby right now. You got Bilal, Khamzat as well, Gilbert Burns, even though he's matched up with Masvidal now. But these guys are all calling out Colby, and Colby's like radio silent right now. So we still got to see what's up with Colby. But, I mean, how do you guys think that fight would go? Colby versus Shavkat. I mean, man, I don't know. That firepower, because he's super accurate. There was one combo he threw was like a head kick, one leg, body kick with the other leg, and then like an uppercut or hook. I can't remember exactly the combo, but I remember it was like a literal 3-piece, but just boom, boom, three different targets, you know what I mean, and hit them all, and just effortless. Like it wasn't like he was, ended up in a bad position where he got countered. It was just like a flow state, just boom, 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 and then. You know what I mean? So it's like, and accurate, though. That's the one thing I was noticing with him. He's super accurate. He's throwing to the body, throwing some hooks to the body, right hands to the body, uppercuts, you know what I mean? It's just, that's an exciting prospect, even though, he don't have that same ferociousness, but I think this kind of brought him out, like, more. Because, like I said, I kind of wasn't really watching him that much. Obviously, he's good or whatever. The Russians are coming, they're taking over the MMA game, the UFC. So that in Mexico, Viva Mexico. So that'll lead us into the next fight. But that was it. Shavkat got the victory. So far we got what Shavkat or Bo Nickel, Shavkat. Like I said, the Jalen Turner Gamrot fight was really close. Like I felt like Jalen Turner did a lot more damage in that fight. Like I mean, because he had Gamrot hurt a couple times. He got lightning fast hands too. For being a tall guy, 6'3", I think he has 76, 77-inch reach. But being a taller dude like that, he might have even bigger. I don't know as far as reach. But letting his hands go, like just as a lightweight, it's like ridiculous dimensions to have to figure out. But he's really quick. When he throws that combo, man, he's fast. He was quick with his hands. I was like, damn, he's fucking fast for being that tall of a guy. You know, he had so much distance, but he's fast. So I mean that was good. I mean Gamrot, he started getting a couple of desperation takedowns. He landed a couple of shots on the feet too, but I think Jalen was, you know, that's where he was wanted the fight to be. He was able to take that, and he did a good job of getting up. I mean, when he did get taken down, Jalen, I mean, he didn't take a lot of damage on the bottom. So I mean, you know, a couple of those fights, I mean, those takedowns, he was able to get up, or maybe not immediately, but he was constantly working and doing something. He didn't take a lot of damage, so. It's just, I don't know, it's one of those things. If damage truly does trump all, like they're trying to say now, as far as the judging criteria, then I think Jalen, those are closer rounds. I mean, you got to, I mean, even more, some of these rounds could be 10-10s or sway that way. I mean, I don't know, because some of the rounds seem like they were just about control, getting the takedown and not really advancing position, staying in guard, not doing a ton of damage. So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, they got to make up their mind exactly what it is. I mean, maybe it's a time period. If you're controlling for so long, like if it's a 5-minute round and 3 of those rounds, obviously you're on top, you're still winning, even if you're just controlling and not doing much, and you only lost maybe a minute or 2 of the round. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird, you know, because who knows how is that? Sometimes that's worth more than another time getting taken down, and you know, when he gets up right away, or either that or he does a lot of damage on the ground. Like, how does that weigh towards someone holding someone down? I mean, because I don't know. I felt like Gamrot didn't do a lot of damage. He showed a lot. I mean, he got takedowns. He was, you know, tenacious with it when he needed to be, and we kind of knew that was going to happen, right? Like he was going to, you know, maybe test it on the feet a little bit, and then he's going to try to shoot. So interesting. That was interesting. It was a good fight. I mean, I don't think Jalen Turner lost much in that. Even though he lost the fight, his stock did not go down much, because he still, you know, I mean, he showed that it was a close fight. It could have went either way almost. You know, I see why they went Gamrot, because he had more control time. But like I said, if damage truly trumps all, then you kind of got to lean towards Jalen, I think. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Who won that fight? Jalen, Gamrot? I mean, what's next for both of them? You know, Gamrot, I mean, obviously, he's going to move up. Jalen, he was right there, you know, ready to break into the top of the division. So he had, won 5 straight. So, I mean, I think, you know, he's still, like I say, he don't lose much in this. He's still going to get a good matchup, and hope preferably a striker, maybe him. He said he wasn't interested in fighting Dan Hooker anymore, because that was who originally he was going to fight. There was a short notice, like maybe like a month notice fight. So, I mean, it's hard to train for someone like a Gamrot, too, who is going to come in and try to do the ground game and grapple you to death type thing. You know, when you're preparing for Dan Hooker, who's not ever really going to go for a takedown. But, yeah, that was a good fight, though. It was entertaining. I have to go back and watch that one again. I watched it just live, and so I kind of wasn't really judging it. You know, I just see at the end that I felt like, or throughout, I felt like Jalen Turner did more damage, but I don't know. Okay, then when we had, like I said, Alexa Grasso, Valentina, that fight was just craziness. Like Alexa Grasso came in and really just brought it to the champ immediately. Like she, I don't want to say immediately, like opening bell, but first round she tagged her like with a nice quick combo, just 1-2s. And I noticed when she switched southpaw, she had a nice straight left there too. So she switched stances a lot. She was in and out, moving her footwork, you know, moving her feet a lot, just getting, you know, letting off on combos and then trying to escape out of there before Valentina could grab her and try to judo throw her, which she did try a few times and did get her down. You know, she had a couple of like amazing takedown, like, you know, just timing, you know, like, you know, because Grasso, that was one thing I was going to say to my breakdown, that she would, you know, she gets in that, she can't overcommit too much with the boxing because it could end up in a clinch. situation for the judo throw, or it could actually be where she went her high guard a little high. She had this her right hand kind of just glued right here just for those head kicks and all that. So she was like a little high. So when you done let go, there's an opportunity for Valentina to change levels and get the takedown with just like GSP type timing, just duck under, boom, and drive through. And she had a couple of those, and they were nice, But honestly, looking back at the fight, even when I was looking at it and watching it live, I felt like Valentina was wrestling it a little too much and doing it and she did get caught, which will also zap your cardio out if you get cracked like that. Because I felt like she did get stunned, in pretty much at least 3 times in that fight. The first round for sure, right off the bat, she got stunned. And I think again in the third, every time Alexa Grasso would let off with a combo, she was landing at least one or two clean shots in there, just to the face, and she was mixing it up and getting out. And she did a good job. She really did a good job on the scrambles too. That's what I was saying before, because she is that kind of thin frame and squirmy and fast too as well, and great cardio. And I felt like in the scrambling, in the ground game, she was able to out scramble and just squirm away and just get out of position and keep working. Honestly, not just settle like she really studied what Valentina likes to do on the ground, like the crucifix position. Just that judo side control type thing, she really studied that and kept moving her feet. If you notice, she didn't settle in one position. So she was just constantly just bridging and just, like I said, moving her feet out of there. And when it came to the crucifix, for a split second, she was kind of in that crucifix position. And then immediately Grasso, got her arm out of there. I don't remember what side it was, but she got her arm back out, didn't allow Valentina to get it, and she kept scrambling and moving where she was able to escape that position. So, I mean, she's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, but she definitely studied Valentina's game, which leads us actually to how it ended. But like I said, I feel like Valentina, seriously, I do feel like once she did feel the fire on the feet with the hands, that she did get a little desperate with the wrestling and takedowns, and she was doing a good job, but I felt like she was zapping a little bit of her energy a little bit and her gas tank by doing that. And she stays so stiff, kind of just all tight and tense and doesn't really move and just waits. And then she started doing this thing, kind of like Cobra Kai-ish type, put him in a body bag type guy style, the little hop, But I just felt like it was a little too much energy for her, just me just doing that. I'm getting breath, But I just felt like she just does that because she's a counterpuncher. And it's funny because I was just telling my cousin right before that fight even started, I was just explaining about Shevchenko and what she likes to do and how sick her timing is. How she does throw spinning back kicks just as counters, and she does it, with great timing and distance, just always just perfect, and it's funny that I was saying that to him, and maybe a few minutes, whatever, 5-10 minutes later, Alexa Grasso literally studied her counter. And even though I do feel like it wasn't the best space for Valentina to throw that spinning back kick, because she was kind of up against the cage and then she goes for it, she didn't have a lot of space to do it. But you can kind of also, she telegraphed it a bit where you could see where positioning her body and her feet for the pivot, and Grasso read that and trained it. Like I said, she pretty much studied everything that Valentina likes to do, as far as her takedowns and keeping her hips down, hips away, or just even on the ground, the crucifix, and then this, which is a tendency, or just one of her counters, really, because she is great with her counters, is that spinning back kick as a counter. And she tried to do it like an ill-advised, kind of almost like Chris Weidman and Luke Rockhold when he was winning the fight. And then he does a spinning back kick, and Luke catches it and then takes over and ends up finishing him, Weidman. So kind of a little bit similar to that. But I would say that this fight wasn't so much it was one-sided. I felt like it was 2-1 at that point for Valentina. I felt like Grasso won the first round, and the next 2 probably went to Valentina. And then the fourth round was, trending towards Grasso. So, I mean, it was about to be an even fight. It wasn't because it was kind of quick into the fourth. But anyway, let's get back to she throws a spinning back kick as a counter. Grasso immediately just goes forward, with her footwork and just jumps on her, takes her back, just smothers her and takes her back immediately to a rear naked choke attempt, and so now Valentina's just fighting for her life, and really, like, Grasso didn't even have it under the chin, I don't believe, but you could still finish it, obviously, if it's not completely under the chin, like if it's just like across the face here, because you could still, it's more about cutting off the blood on the side. So even if you're smashing all right here, if your squeeze is so good and you're getting the artery, the blood right here, the arteries, you can still put someone to sleep. But I don't think from watching it, I don't think it was a choke like that. I do feel like it was a crush, like a face crush, basically, because she's just basically just squeezing her, squeezing as hard as she can on her face, which is uncomfortable and it hurts. I've had that done. It sucks, but it's like to tap to it. It's kind of like you're almost just giving up. Like, tapping is giving up, but or like you're ready to throw in the towel, like you're ready, like, get me out of here, or maybe her squeeze was that good where it was cutting off the blood and she was about to go out. I don't know. Like, it wasn't like, it was kind of almost like a stubborn, like almost like when Fedor tapped back in the day, like kind of like a one tap. Yeah, you got me. Like, you could tell she was mad. It was almost like a punch tap, like it was like, yeah, you got me, damn it. Like, and then stood and sat up right away and was just, you could tell disappointed. But I don't know if I really like the rematch. I mean, so what, let me get a thought together. Yeah. So, this was like one of the biggest upsets. I can't remember the final odds were, but one of the biggest upsets in, championship type history. Valentina has been showing signs of, being a human the last few fights. And I think that this kind of, I don't know, I think it was coming, you know what I mean? I'm so excited and super happy for Alexa Grasso. Only the third Mexican champion now, UFC champion, Viva Mexico, cabrones. No. Yeah, you got Brandon Moreno, you got Alexa Grasso, and, Yair Rodriguez, Cain Velasquez. I don't know if he's actually from Mexico, though, so I don't know if they're counted that way. But Yair Rodriguez as well, who's interim. So, that's going to be a fight coming up with him and Volkanovski if they make that. They still haven't made that fight officially. But, yeah. So, but he's still interim. So this whole year has three bouts for the Mexican. So that's crazy. That's awesome. It shows how the sport's growing. And Grasso, man, that's just insane. You know what I mean? Huge upset. What I was saying about Valentina is kind of like a little in doubt, saying like her immediately she said I was winning the whole fight and I was doing this and that, like she was in control, and she even said if it wasn't for the spinning back kick, different result, but I'll be back and I am the best and all this. But I don't know. I think an immediate rematch, I think there's a little bit more areas for Grasso to improve on. Valentina, what can she really do? She's a Muay Thai, kickboxing, counter puncher style fighter. What is she really going to change up other than trying to take it to the ground more, work her judo more, work wrestling, stuff like that? She can do that. That's all great. But also Grasso is going to know that she is going to try it and get it to those ranges where she wants to, where she can have success with the grappling. And Grasso is going to be able to train for that. She already showed that she was able to train and like eliminate some of the things that Shevchenko likes to do. So, imagine what another camp after actually fighting her, what kind of adjustments they could come up with to even look better the next time. And, who knows, though, because if Valentina if she wants to take her to the ground, she actually is the one who got tapped. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think there's other tough matchups for Grasso in that division for sure. Like, like Aaron Blanchfield and, there's a couple in there in that division that's could give her a lot of problems. But as far as this matchup, I'm excited for. It sucks that it has to be an immediate rematch. But of course, Shevchenko, if she wants it, of course she deserves it. She has like 6-7 title defenses, so she deserves that whenever she wants it. But I don't know. I just kind of like, I want to see other matchups, but it's like you always have to win 2, and then now you could get to trying to fight the rest of the division. You know, that's just what it is, how it has to be. So, but yeah, amazing night for Alexa Grasso at Mexico. But yeah, that brings us to the main event: John Jones, Ciryl Gane. Now Ciryl gone, and John Jones did exactly what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to go in there, dominate, make it look easy, which, like, I stand corrected. I did pick John Jones to win this fight, but I didn't think it was going to be that easy. I didn't think it'd be first round, 2.5 minutes in. I thought this was going to be his toughest matchup. I thought, you know, and I still feel like Stipe is a tougher matchup, but I thought Gane and Stipe were going to be the two toughest matchups for him. I mean, maybe a Sergey Pavlovich when he, you know, see what happens with him at Curtis Blades, how that goes. But I mean, he might be a little too big for John, but I don't know. But who knows? I mean, after that, I mean, he took, man, he really made it look easy. Like 7 seconds in, 5 seconds in, Gane hits him with a nut shot, hits him in the balls. And afterwards, Jones said it didn't really hurt too much. He just didn't want, you know, to let it go and notice this in case he keeps fouling or whatever. So brought it to attention. So after that, you know, there was some striking exchanges. You know, John Jones threw a couple kicks, a couple punches. You know, he slipped a nice punch. And then he immediately just went for a takedown, and he got his back like pretty quick. And then, well, for as far as the takedown, he wasn't able to get the position immediately. He was a little low and kind of just on the hips more and controlling the legs, but not high, really super high up, you know, to really stay on top of Ciryl until he made an adjustment and turned off the cage, and then he was able to just go straight to mount after the takedown. He went straight to mount and grabbed the guillotine, and Gane, you know, fought it off for a few seconds, and then Jones put it back on, and it didn't look, from the initial angle, it did not look tight, and he tapped really fast. It was like, what, that wasn't under the chin or what? I think it was under the chin, but I think more of it was almost kind of like a neck crank or just a compression, because he had it in there. But if you see John Jones, like basically he had, you know, Gane's head like in his armpit, you know, so, you know, at the top. So he's squeezing down this way. He's got his like wrist area right here, like up in here, this area. So, you know, like, you know, it's like backwards, but you know, this is all up in here like trachea. So it's almost like a trachea smash. So that's pulling up, and his armpit, you know, and compressing his body forward, you know, with all his body weight basically is pushing Ciryl Gane's head down. So it's basically like, you know, like heads in a vice basically. And also if it is like in the trachea area or, you know, esophagus type thing right here, like that's extremely painful. And with all the pressure of him putting his body weight on the top of your head, pushing down, and him squeezing up, I mean, he probably felt like his head was going to get popped off. So he had to tap. So, I mean, regardless of, yeah, he tapped quick, whatever, he didn't know how to get out of that position for sure, obviously, but that was probably painful. He probably had to tap or lose his head, you know. Yeah, great night of fights. A lot to talk about. I mean, I got to do another video on, like, what's the next matchups, all that. But yeah, there's too much to talk about on this one. It was crazy. Like I said, the return of John Jones. Is he the GOAT? She's champ now, heavyweight champ. He's got Stipe International Fight Week waiting. Stipe was in attendance. They're gonna fight. So I mean, that's the fight I wanted to see. I kept saying that all night, even before the main event. I'm like, I want to see Jones and Stipe. You know, that's the fight I've been wanting to see. So. It's almost like it's similar to the matchup that we never got with Kane and John Jones. There was talk about that back in the day, and I feel like Stipe and Kane are kind of similar. Maybe not with the relentless wrestling like Kane. Stipe's not like that, but he does have wrestling. So he's not. There's no way John Jones runs through Stipe that way. I mean, he don't really have the punching power to just knock out Stipe, and Stipe has really power in both hands. You know, he's really good boxing. And he could knock people out he knocked Verdum out on his back foot going backwards. And Verdum just ran straight into it and he got slept. So, I mean, he definitely has the power to knock out anybody. And he could wrestle. So it's not like John Jones will be able to just hold down Stipe like that. He'll use a lot of energy doing that. So it's an intriguing matchup. You know, like I can't wait for that fight. That's the one I want to see now. That's in July. I'm going to try to get tickets for that one. International Fight Week. Yeah. That's all I got right now. Be back with some more shit later.